Okay.
Do you want to come in?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Your Honor, he's coming into the building and told him.
Is that for me? I get, yeah, get in the box, get in the box. I get to it. He's in. He's in the courtroom.
Okay, yeah. All right, we're going to summon our jurors, okay? All right. Sergeant Ingram? All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, Mr. Steele. Do you remember after driving the 2004 Nissan Altima vehicle into the side of the building, the laundromat, do you remember being arrested?
I don't recall, sir.
Do you remember that after being struck by the police car, you were then handcuffed and taken into police custody? Same day.
No, sir.
Do you recall then being taken to the hospital, Grady Hospital, for injuries?
No, sir.
I couldn't hear you.
No, sir.
You don't remember. Do you remember in Grady Hospital, a law enforcement officer, detective with the City of Atlanta Police Department coming out and speaking with you?
My statement was I don't remember nothing from 2013, sir.
Do you remember that while at Grady Hospital, this is before ever being taken to the Fulton County Jail, you spoke with that detective?
No, sir.
Do you remember the detective asking you questions about the incident involving the armed robbery of Mr. Dotson and almost killing police officer Roberson L. and striking the other police officer's vehicle and careening over the embankment into the wall and fleeing? Do you remember that?
No, sir.
Do you remember telling that detective, specifically Detective Lewis, at that time, that there were 3 people in the Nissan red Altima vehicle?
No, sir.
Do you remember telling Detective Lewis, or whoever the detective is? You don't have to remember a name. This is a long time ago. Do you remember stating that the driver was not you?
No, sir.
Do you remember lying that the driver was not you and saying that the driver was your dear friend, Fred Plethro?
No, sir.
Fred Plethro and you are good friends, fair to say, or were good friends?
I don't recall, sir.
You don't remember stating that Fred Plethro is like your brother?
No, sir.
You've been arrested and indicted with Fred Plethro in the past, right? Not only the September 11, 2013 case, but other case, right?
No, sir.
You deny that?
Yes, sir.
To be fair to you, and maybe it doesn't need repeating.
I don't remember no case from
Let me just finish
about no
speaking.
further protocol.
Let me just finish speaking, then what did you say? I apologize. What did you say?
The same thing I've been saying.
Okay. I didn't hear what you just said about Fred Plethora.
I don't remember no case with him.
Okay.
Being indicted with him. No, I don't.
Let me show you what I've marked as Mr. Williams number 200, exhibit number 200.
Your Honor, I'd like to object to this, and I'd like to approach.
Okay. Come on. Thank you, sir. Your Honor, may I approach Mr. B?
You may.
May I approach you, sir?
Sir.
Say yes.
Yes, sir.
I'm showing you what I've marked in today's date, Mr. Williams, exhibit number 200. Take a look at that. Tell me if you recognize what is in Mr. Williams number 200. Recognize it?
I don't recognize none of it.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams number 200, self-authenticating certified copy of the indictment from the Honorable Clerk of Court, Fulton County. Indictment number 11, SC 102083 for purposes of impeachment.
Any objection, Ms. Law?
No, Your Honor.
All right, it's admitted, may be inquired upon as you see fit.
Mr. Kokomo, thank you so much. All right, this is Mr. Williams on the screen. It's also in front of you, sir. This is indictment number 11, SC 102083. You see that in the center top part of this page?
That's what the paper says, sir.
And you see it's State of Georgia versus a gentleman, Mr. Frederick Prethrow, counts 1, 3, 4, 5. You see that?
That's what the paper says.
Then a William Herman Green with an E at the end. You see that?
That's what the paper says.
Also, Shadwana, if I mispronounced, I apologize. Shajuana Bean, same last name as you.
That's what the paper says.
And that's count 1, 3, and 4, right?
That's what the paper says.
And who is, if anyone, in relation to you, that person?
Objection, Your Honor. As to relevance.
I sustain the question. Remember what you asked about, Mr. Steele.
All right. And then your name is at the end. See Adrian Bean, count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. You see that?
That's what the paper says.
Okay. And on the right-hand side, it gives the charges. You see that? 1 through 8.
Yes, sir.
Possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, possession of firearm during commission of a felony, possession of firearm during commission of a felony, again, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, again, count 7, obstruction of a law enforcement officer, misdemeanor, possession of firearm by a convicted felon. You see that?
Yes, sir.
And then you see, if you go to keep going to the right part of that page, it's written at an angle. You see that it says that upon the motion of the assistant district attorney, the within indictment is ordered placed on the dead docket, and the surety, meaning bondsperson, is relieved of liability in this case. This is the 25th day of July, 2011. You see the judge signature, and that says as only to you. You see that?
Yes, sir. What the paper says.
Okay. And then on the next page, it has people's guilty or not guilty. On the next page, which will be the third page of this document, these are the charges that we just discussed. And I'd like to just look at.
Your Honor, I would object as to the recitation of the detail within the document. Improper impeachment.
Documents in evidence, and it's a dead docket pending
Mr.
case.
Steele, same thing. She's objected. It's a valid objection. Remember what you offered it for.
It's a dead document.
I'm sustaining the objection.
Understood. Then turn to page, please, where it says, at the very bottom, witness list. Do you see that?
Your Honor, once again, I object to Mr. Steele getting into the specifics that he's
I
trying
sustain the
to make,
objection.
and he's still on
Now,
Your Honor,
the play.
I am showing that a witness in this case is Officer Robertson L. Robertson L. I'd like to impeach the witness that you didn't know who that was.
Your Honor,
that's not what you offered it for, so I'm going to sustain the objection. Remember what you told me you were going to offer, what you offered the document for. I'm admitting it for that reason and that reason only.
Okay. All right. Mr. Bean, does this change your testimony in front of the jury that you've never been charged or indicted with Mr. Frederick Prethrow again, or besides the September 11, 2013 case?
The document you show says that. I don't remember.
All right. And Mr. Prethrow was a close, dear friend of you in the early 2010, 11, 12, 13 period. True?
Your Honor, I object to that compound question.
I sustain as to form. You can rephrase, Mr. Steele.
You considered Mr. Prethrow a close friend in year 2011, right?
No, I didn't, sir.
2012,
No, I didn't.
2013.
No, I didn't, sir. I didn't remember.
Did you say
Go
something?
ahead.
Did you say something?
No, sir.
Did you remember telling, and didn't you tell, Detective Quinn on September 17, 2013, that Fred Prethrow was like a brother to you?
I don't remember any questions that I had with Detective Quinn, sir.
Do you remember telling me and Investigator Martin on January 22, 2023, that Fred Prethrow was very close to you?
I don't remember that either, sir.
Why did you tell a detective with City of Atlanta Police Department homicide at the hospital before you go to the Fulton County Jail?
Your Honor, I
on
object
basis-
that that's not an evidence, and I really object to that. This is asking a witness about something that isn't an evidence and will not.
It's his statement, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
I'm
there's,
going to overrule the objection. Let me ask the question, okay? We'll see where it goes from there.
Why did you tell the detective at the hospital, Grady Hospital, on September 11th, 2013, that it was not you, but your dear friend driving that Nissan vehicle?
there are no facts that are in evidence. There will be no statement put in evidence. So I object to facts not in evidence.
Did he make the statement, Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Steele does not have any such statement. And there is no evidence that will say this.
Can I see it?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask it this way. Do you have a good faith basis?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to overrule the objection.
Do you remember at time of 44 minutes, 56 seconds on September 11th, 2000? That's wrong. That's wrong. I apologize. Do you remember on September 17th, 2013, on the recording with Detective Quinn at 44 minutes and 56 seconds, telling Detective Quinn that, yes, sir, I lied to the detective when they first came and talked to me, and I told them, and that's probably the lies you're talking about. I told them Big Fred was driving, and I was the driver. Big Fred was the passenger. Do you remember saying that?
No, sir, I don't remember that, sir.
Why did you tell Detective Quinn on recording at that time, stamp that I just said, that your dear friend is driving the car that almost killed a police officer?
I don't recall that, sir.
Why did you tell Detective Quinn that you typically use your cousin's name when getting arrested so you don't get arrested and they pull up your history?
I don't recall that either, sir.
Why would you use a cousin or any other person's name so you could get out of trouble but get them into trouble? Why would you do that?
I don't recall that either.
When at the hospital,
Your Honor, I object to the hospital statement because that is the part that is not in evidence and that will not come into evidence.
Is there a statement?
yes, sir.
Show that to Miss Love. You have a good faith basis, that's fine.
I sent it to Miss Love this morning before 6 o'clock a.m. It's a 10-minute recording.
It is not a statement at the hospital. It is a statement of Mr. Steele in 2023.
Mr. Bean admits to making that statement at the hospital. This is all proper.
And you probably need to orient him to before you ask that question.
Okay. Your Honor, can Mr. Kokomo come forward with headphones and play the 10-minute recording for Mr. Bean then?
I think you need to ask him some more questions in order to do that.
Okay. Do you remember having the ability to make a phone call or phone calls from the hospital from non-recorded lines to your wife, Courtney Bean?
I object to facts not in evidence. There's, Your Honor.
I sustain the objection. Why don't you lay a little more foundation, sir?
Have you, when you were prosecuted for this case that you're here about driving that you pled guilty about driving you pled guilty under Alford for driving the vehicle, almost striking the police officers. We discussed that in 157C, State's Exhibit. That's what I'm talking about, okay?
Yeah, that's what.
You
You
understand
have to
what
answer for the record, okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You
Yeah,
understand?
I seen some on paper, but I don't know.
Okay. On that case, before going to Fulton County Jail, you went to Grady Hospital. Remember telling me that? And Jimmy Martin Jr. on recording?
I don't remember any conversation we had, Mr. Steele.
And it's me. I'm confident it's not you, so I apologize, but I can't hear you. I know you said you can't remember, but then there were other words. Can you repeat
What was your name? Mr. Steele, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
What did you say, though?
I don't remember any conversation that me and you even had, sir.
Okay. Okay. Do you remember on Sunday, January 22, 2023, approximately 11 o'clock a.m., listening to a jail call that Jimmy Martin Jr. played for you in my presence at the Kroger restaurant near your, Kroger grocery store near your home?
I don't remember any conversations I had with you, Mr. Steele.
Do you remember at that Kroger restaurant, Kroger grocery store near your home on the same date? You're all going to be the same date. Sunday, January 22, 2023, approximately 11 a.m. Jimmy Martin Jr. and I introduced ourselves to you, and I made it known that I represent Mr. Jeffery Williams, performer known as Young Thug, in this pending case. Do you remember that?
I don't remember any conversations we had, sir.
Do you remember being asked your telephone number by Investigator Martin and giving him a number? I'm not going to say it except for the last four numbers, 0730. Do you remember that?
No, sir.
Do you remember being asked by Investigator Martin your date of birth and giving it as June 22 of 1979 and stating that you're 42 years of age?
No, sir. I'm 44, sir.
Well, today you're 44. How old were you on January 22, 2023?
I was 43 then. I wasn't 42.
Do you remember me asking you, is it okay for Investigator Martin to record verbatim our communication there at the Kroger on that same date, approximately same time?
I don't remember any conversation we done had, sir.
Do you remember explaining that Dirty Red, or a gentleman known as Derek Dotson, was a good close friend of you?
I told you that.
One more time.
I told you that.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember that either, sir.
Do you remember explaining that Fred Prothro and Walter Murphy, DK, I'm saying, were with you on September 11, 2013?
I don't remember that either, sir.
Do you remember explaining that you were never charged with any crime involving Derek Dotson or Dirty Red? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that either.
And if you look at State's Exhibit number 157C as in Colette or Charlie, it's in front of you. You see that document?
Yeah, I seen a lot of papers that you presented, but I don't remember no like that.
Okay, well, look at the State's Exhibit number 157C. It's right in front of you. You see it?
Which one is 157C, ma'am?
One more time.
Which one is one?
Your Honor.
Okay. Want me to
And
look at it?
you can look at it. It's in evidence. And the charges against you by the grand jury were dismissed as to anything involving Derek Dotson, like you said, on January 22, 2023, correct?
I don't remember.
Do you remember explaining when talking about that entire incident involving Derek Dotson, Fred Prothro, Walter Murphy, driving, careening into the side of the laundromat, that Jeffery Williams, or young thug, or thug, was not involved in any way?
I don't remember the conversation, sir.
Do you remember then explaining that they, meaning the detectives, tried to force Jeffery Williams or young thug into it? Remember saying that?
I think that was something you said, right?
No.
I don't remember that.
Okay. Do you remember explaining that the police wanted thug in it and there was a lot of, quote, hype on the street?
I don't remember, sir.
Do you remember, again, emphasizing that Jeffery Williams or thug or young thug was not involved in any way on September 11, 2013?
I don't remember the conversation, sir.
Do you remember me referring to that jail recording between you and your wife made from the Fulton County Jail? And I asked you, what did it mean when you said, quote, they gave us a story to tell? Remember that?
No, sir.
Do you remember explaining that what you were referring to is that at the hospital, the police were telling us to lie, put young thug in on it, or face a lot of time in prison? Remember saying that?
I don't remember the conversation.
Do you remember explaining that you were the driver of that 2004 Nissan Altima vehicle, red vehicle, on September 11, 2013?
I don't recall.
But explaining that the police wanted you to make young thug the driver. You remember that?
I don't remember, sir.
Do you remember explaining on January 22, 2023, that you told the police on recording that Jeffrey was involved in this crime because you wanted to serve less time in prison?
No, sir.
Do you recall explaining that you made calls from the Fulton County Jail that you knew were being recorded to support your lie to the police that Jeffrey was involved on September 11, 2013?
No, sir.
Do you remember again emphasizing that Jeffery Williams, I call him Jeffery Williams, thug, whatever you call him, was not involved at all with this crime?
I don't remember, sir.
Do you remember explaining that Derek Dotson died, God forbid, before your case came to the court, and therefore all the cases involving Derek Dotson were completely dismissed as to you? Remember that?
I don't remember, sir.
Do you remember explaining that you got 3 years to serve in prison for shooting 2 people in addition to this case?
I don't remember the conversation.
Do you remember explaining that you are not involved with any criminal street gang and that September 11, 2013 was not criminal street gang activity? Remember that?
Basis.
Assuming that's not an evidence in the good faith basis.
That's what he said on recording.
I'll rule the objection.
Do you remember saying that?
I don't remember still.
And Your Honor, I also object as to compound, because we don't know which question he was answering.
I'll refer, I'll sustain it as to form. You can rephrase, Mr. Steele.
Do you remember explaining that you are not a part of YSL if it is a criminal street gang?
I don't remember, sir.
Well, are you part of a criminal street gang?
No, sir.
Do you have any tattoos of gang activity?
No, sir.
Do you remember explaining that you only know Thug, Young Thug, Jeffrey through radio and seen him in the neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember again stating that Young Thug was not in any vehicle with you?
Your Honor, I ask that the witness be oriented as to when. And
So what's the objection?
The objection is to form the question.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. You can rephrase, sir.
Do you remember explaining again on January 22, 2023, on recording to Investigator Martin and myself at the Kroger's near your home that Young Thug was not in any vehicle on September 11, 2013 with you?
I may have. I don't remember the conversation, though, still.
Do you remember explaining that Young Thug, who I call Jeffery Williams, never directed you to commit any criminal activity?
I don't remember.
Do you remember explaining that on the street, everybody wants to go against the man? They want to go against Young Thug. He's got the money. Remember saying that?
Your Honor, I object and ask that he orient the witnesses.
I sustain as to form.
Do you remember on Sunday, approximately 11 to 11:22, at Kroger's near your home, stating on recording to Investigator Martin and me that the street wants, everybody wants to go against the man, Young Thug. He's got money. Remember that?
I may have said that.
One more time.
I may have said something like that.
Do you remember explaining that all you know is that Thug is in the studio?
I may have said something like that. I don't remember though, still.
Do you also remember giving your opinion that Derek Dotson killed himself? This is a 10-year-old matter, and this should be over with. You remember saying that?
Something like that.
When you were prosecuted for what's in State's Exhibit number 157C as in Colette with Charlie, when that case was prosecuted, you received what's called a sharing of information or discovery. you and your lawyer, from the state of Georgia. Remember that?
Never received one, sir.
Okay. Do you know whether your lawyer received one?
Objection is speculation.
If you know.
I'll rule the objection.
I never seen a discovery.
I cannot hear you.
I never seen or had a discovery.
Have you ever seen any of the memorandum, recording, note of your meeting with the detective at the hospital on September 11, 2013?
Objection is assuming facts that are not in evidence. There's no good faith basis for that. There's no such interview.
You all come on up. Come on.
Nobody wants to come up and chat, huh? I dropped the link over there in the chat if y'all want to come up and rap about it. And I've been following this thing from day one. I tried to get y'all to jump aboard, but nevertheless, I'm Mr. Follow-Up, so we're gonna rehash this thing while trial is has been postponed due to that old ex parte meeting they had. I actually think we're gonna see a mistrial here. Now, this is why I say that. We got Kayla Bumpus, which was Lil Woody, aka Kenny Copeland's attorney for one day. She was a sit-in attorney. His original attorney had other business he had to take care of, so she came in for that one day. That one day that she was there has caused the whole trial to be halted due to that ex parte meeting. Now, in this ex parte meeting, she was in there, Judge Glanville was in there, Adrian Love, which is she worked for the state, Hilton, which works for the state, and a few more people. Nobody from the defense was there. That's what made the ex parte meeting illegal. which make it seems like the Judge Glanville is he's swaying on one side of the party, which we all know. I mean, if y'all ain't played sports, the referee's supposed to do just that. Referee. He's not part of the game. He only there to make sure that there's no fouls committed. And if any fouls are committed, blow the whistle on the play. But he decided that he was going to be a part of the game the day that he had the ex parte meeting with the state. Man, like I said back in like day 15, this is a circus. It took almost a year just for them to come up with a jury. It can't get no worse. But I'm gonna tell y'all this: if you tune in now with me for this trial here, man, wait till this young Dolph trial starts. Oh, there's so many loops and rabbit holes in that trial, in that case there. Now, don't quote me on this, but it seems like we got city officials involved in that case. We got police involved in that case. We got news reporters involved in that case. And if you heard anything about that case, I'm sure you heard of Makita Cookies, which is allegedly involved in that case. Man, stay tuned. Don't be afraid, y'all. Hit that link. Come on up, rap to me. If not, share this live with your favorite cousins. I need the watch hours. Thanks in advance. I want to say this too while I got an open mic. Man, have y'all seen the inside of Fulton County Jail? I'm talking about I wouldn't even want to house my dog in there. I'm scared she might come out with some type of disease. It was just a young man died here recently in that jail due to bug bites. He was attacked by bugs and died from it. Man, can you imagine that? You been eaten alive by insects. This is part of the reason why they have so many people housed and they haven't even seen a court date yet, though. Just take a look at how long they taking to resume this trial right here. That means we got other cases that's been pushed back. They got people down in Fulton County that's been jailed down there for at least 5 years. Yeah, y'all can quote me on that. At least 5 years on the docket. Haven't even seen a judge yet. Whatever happened to the fair and speedy trial? Okay, we back.
Chris, you have to get some more tape. She's coming off. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to take up some other things. And so what I want to do at this point in time is go ahead and recess for the day. Okay. So, Mr. Bean.
I told y'all, Judge Glanville just be looking for a lunch break. That's all we do during this trial is take a comfort break.
I need you to be here for 10 o'clock on Wednesday, March the 13th.
Yes, sir.
10 o'clock, Wednesday, March the 13th. You good with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As I mentioned earlier, don't discuss your testimony to anybody except the attorneys in this case, okay?
All right, 10 o'clock. Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you then, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's not forget that Fonnie Willis is the one that called the RICO charge on these boys. She's been on stand. Her
Okay.
lady. They just had another female judge down in Atlanta.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, jury, let me go ahead and take up a couple of things with you. Okay, as you know, we are going to be in recess tomorrow through next Tuesday. So that's the 5th through the 12th. So we good for that?
Yes.
Okay, now, I've shared with counsel that I'm in receipt of some correspondence from you about that you've taken an unscientific poll amongst yourselves, not in violation of the court's admonitions, but to ask about spring break and parentage and other things. Is that right? Don't be bashful now. Come on now. I got paper, okay? So have a good faith basis asking of this, all right? So is that your desire between the 1st and the 5th of April to be down? I think a majority of you wish for that to occur.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I've talked with our lawyers, and I think that would be appropriate, okay? So, I wanted to address it to you now because I know you all want to plan, all right? But don't ask me for nothing else, okay? Nothing. Okay, all right, as long as we're good with that, okay? No. I'll do it, and I think it's appropriate for you all to be able to spend that time with your for those of you that have school age children and the like. So we will be taking up other matters during that particular period of time. Okay, yes. Fair enough. All right. There's another person that sent me a note talking about the 20th of March. Don't identify yourself, okay? But I feel on pretty good authority that particular morning, you will be able to make that appointment that you need to make. But I've told all of you, please make your appointments I think I give you enough time so that we don't have any, kind of discrepancies with this as much as we can do it. Okay. So, try as much as you can. I mean, I know life happens and we'll flex on that and we appreciate that. But to the extent that you can,
this dude with his
make
Suge
your
Knight looking
appointments
ass.
on the other days that will be kind of down or have administrative time, please go ahead and do so, okay? So,
In recent, a couple of us have been getting some pushback, even though you have been giving us notice.
pushback from who?
The doctor's office. Some of them are booking out like 8 weeks out.
I understand that, and we'll work with you, okay? I understand that. I'm giving you a hard time, but but to the extent that you can, please do so. But we'll do whatever we can with that, okay? But if you can, what I'd rather you do, if you do have an appointment, make it first thing in the morning or as late as you can in the afternoon, so we can go ahead and take some. I can release you early or have you come in late, okay? So to the extent you can, I mean, as I tell people all the time, life happens and then you do your various vocation. So we'll do what we can for that, all right? Okay? All right. So do I have any other ministerial inquiries of me at this point in time? Now that I've addressed the spring break and other appointments, and we'll just, like I said, we'll deal with them as best we can. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any other inquiry, question? You sure? All right. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Unless you have anything else of me, what I'll do is at this point in time, I'll give you the customary ad nauseum admonitions for the period of time that we'll be down, and that is leave your notepads in the basket. Go ahead and take a juror sticker so you can take one and have one. Please do not discuss anything else that that you've heard about the case amongst yourselves as you were going, no matter where you're going and who you're with, small groups, ones, twos, at home, at any other place you may find yourselves. It would be a violation for you to do so, okay? The other thing, ladies and gentlemen, is please do not consult any outside sources, books, the internet, or any other reference materials. Do not go by and visit the scene anytime or involving anything that we may have talked about here in open court. And remember, the only thing you can lawfully consider is what's presented to you in the four walls of this courtroom, all right? So with that, and also if anybody, as you know, tries to discuss this case in your presence or hearing or approaches you, you need to let myself or Deputy Ingram know immediately. And also please resist the temptation of listening to any news reports, podcasts, or any other third-party sources that may reference or chronicle this trial in any way, because remember, the only things that you can take up or consider are what is presented within this courtroom. So, I know that the temptation is great. Well, let's see what the lawyers and the judge are doing. No, that would be a violation. And remember, I told you that how do we find out about these things? Y'all tell on yourselves. Yeah, you squeal on yourselves or you squeal on one another. So let's not do that. You all have been really good. So just continue to follow my admonitions, okay? All right. Do you have anything else, ladies and gentlemen, of me?
Are we supposed to report at 10 on the 13th as well?
Yes, ma'am. At 10 o'clock. Yes, 10 o'clock. For 10 o'clock on the 13th of March. That was the first question. I saw another couple hands go up. Sir.
Same question.
Anybody else? All right, you sure? Okay, all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, then we will see you all next Wednesday at 1000 hours, and we'll see where the day leads us at that point in time, okay? All right, we're in recess. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Our jury has left us. Counsels, I will include, or you're welcome to take a look at these notes. I'm just not going to make them for public discernment. I will seal them in reference to our jury that has a doctor's appointment, as well as the unscientific poll that the jurors have taken. Okay, so you're welcome to take a look at them. I'm going to give those to Miss Weaver, and they'll be sealed for purpose of record. Okay. The other thing, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but the first of, and I had a bench conference with representatives from the state, Ms. Love, and also Mr. Steele and Mr. Matthews in regards to that week that the jurors are going to be down for those, their children that are in the Atlanta system, Fulton County system, as well as that particular week of starting the 1st of April. It's the court's pleasure for us to take up Monday the 1st and or Tuesday the 2nd, any outstanding motions that may be had at that point in time. So block your calendars for 1 April, 2 April, that's Monday and Tuesday. And the court is going to give you a little bit of a administrative pause for the rest of the week, okay? But to the extent that we can, I know Mr. Steele's got a couple of motions that I need to take up. at that point as well. So, all right. Any questions of me? Anyone? All right. Okay, so folks, all right, as to the ministerial, as to the scheduling. Okay, since our jury has left us and it's advocates and clients and the court, the last thing that we were talking about at the bench was in reference to conversations that were supposedly made by Mr. Bean at the hospital. And I believe that we are in disagreement as to a couple of things. One, whether or not the statement was made referencing an event at the hospital. So I want to say that in order to seek ground zero on that, we'll have to let Ms. Weaver prepare or at least the transcript in reference to the testimony of Detective Velasquez in regards to his testimony on this particular statement made by Mr. Bean's statements. Okay, that also may have to be cross-referenced along with the interview of Mr. Bean, as well as the purported statements that were made to Mr. Steele and his investigator. So, counsels, I'm going to let you all kind of take a look at those three sources and be prepared to kind of talk about those when they come back on the 13th to see whether or not, in fact, that is, if we've been able to find some particular granularity on those particular statements and in terms of whether or not this particular conversation was had at the hospital or not.
Your Honor, and Your Honor, I have, if we will address this on the 13th, we can do that. I will be presenting to the court the statements that were made by Detective Lewis, and of course we'll wait.
Detective who?
Well, Detective Lewis stated that when she went to the hospital, there were two males there.
Okay, so we'll need her testimony as well.
Right. I can give the court the statement that she gave.
Oh, I'll the statement or the transcript, the testimony.
She has not testified yet.
Okay,
She has not testified, but Detective Velasquez referenced her going to speak to Frederick Prothro and Walter Murphy. And then after she came back to the homicide office, after she came back from speaking with Murphy and Prothro, when talking to Brian Taylor Ransom, they learned that the car had been loaned out to Adrian Bean. So on scene, they did not know what, if anything, Adrian Bean had to do with the incident that occurred over in Summerdale. And Adrian Bean...
okay, but the issue we're trying to get granularity on is whether or not Mr. Bean was taken to the hospital, whether or not he made statements from the hospital. That's what the genesis of you all's discussion is, or was it up here at the bench?
That's right.
So can we focus on that? That's what you objected to, because you said there's no basis for him. Right. And Mr. Steele says, well, this is what he told me in the taped interview I had with who's your investigator again?
James Martin Jr.
Mr. James Martin Jr. So that's what the contention is.
That's the base, and that is the basis for the objection, because Adrian Bean never went to the hospital, and I was only...
Okay, well, he might have lied.
To them, yes.
Yeah, and that might be the truth. He lied about it. So, but whether or not that happened or not, I want you all to, I know Mr. Steele wants to know whether or not that is true or not, because he certainly doesn't want to present any untrue testimony to the tribunal. But if if he has another good faith basis that he was actually at the hospital, that's what I want you all to find out.
Yes, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Steele, I think you need to find that out, sir. Whether or not he did, in fact, because you can't also, I know you would never do this. You cannot tell a witness something that you know is not true either. So, and I know you wouldn't do that. But I think that since this has been made an issue, let's just find out. Because if, I mean, there's any number of a couple scenarios that might have occurred in this situation. So I'll let you all figure them out.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor. Thank you. We
All
will, yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Steele, want to add anything? No, sir. All right. Do either counsel want to add anything about the conversation we had at the bench in reference to our administrative pause in terms of our jury? You didn't know what I was talking about, right? No. I was asking Ms. Love about, do you want to add anything in reference to our conversation up here at the bench about the administrative pause?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
We're just fine with that.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Any other ministerial or any other things I need to take up?
No.
Okay. All right. So you all figure that out, and then I'll take it from there on the 13th in regards to Mr. Bean's statement. Okay. All right. Okay. Unless there's anything else, councils, we'll see you all on the 13th of March at 10 o'clock. Okay. All right. We're in recess. All right.